Hi, Dan. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you, Elisha, for having me. It's such an honor to be here with everyone listening to us and watching us.
Beautiful. And thank you so very much for being here. And you see, Dan, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. All right. And I do this always because I feel like it is important. And when I came across a scientific study that says that when you give people positive feedback, it tends to improve and enhance their work. So in other words, when you say good things about what people are doing, it tends to even make them do more better. So, firstly, Dan, I want to thank you for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you invested in yourself. And oftentimes, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, I was on that road some months back then, and there was this tall mango tree by the roadside that didn't catch my attention. Why? Because it's got no mangoes on it and it looks all dry and unattractive. I just walked past it. But you see, Dan, just recently I was on that same road and this time around something changed. You see, I sat at the mango tree from a distance and it caught my attention pretty good that I got the urge to, move closer and have a good look. And when I got closer, Dan, it wowed me because this time around the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, and you see not just mangoes but ripe mangoes, and it looks so beautiful and amazing. Man, I just couldn't take my eyes off the beauty. The point is the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing person that you are today, Dan. That alone has made it really impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you see you got the request from me to be on the show. Getting to read about the amazing things you're doing and your philosophies and your insight and the impact your work is having. It's amazing, man. And I've got to say thank you for investing in yourself. It means a whole lot. Now, you're serving as a blessing to us all. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if Dan had said nope, there was nothing I could do about it. So thank you so very much. Actually, I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, yeah, let's get started. I am quite excited to have you
Thank
on
you,
the show
Elisha.
today. Yeah, I am quite excited to have you on the show today, Dan, for some reason. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking, because I believe in order to move from a terrible situation to a beautiful one, Dan, I believe it takes the application of knowledge. Not just knowledge, but the application of it. And you see that ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing Dan on the show is for the sake of the listeners. Dan, sorry, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. How to do this and how to do that and how to become this and how to become that. So these folks trust me for quality information. And I'm totally convinced, Dan, that our conversation is not only going to be insightful, it's also going to be impactful. It will cause change in the lives of the folks who will be listening. Okay, for that reason, Dan, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey. We are just so curious right now. We want to know how Dan got here. And afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Dan, over to you.
Okay, well, it's an honor to be with everyone. I love your mango tree story because everyone watching us is that mango tree. And like you're saying, Elisha, it's about not just hearing the knowledge or going, reading it and going in one ear and then it's like, oh, I'll use that sometime. No, it's about applying it. Like I've taught Think and Grow Rich at the master's level since 2003. And that, if you're not familiar with that book, it's about the 13 steps to riches, which are how the super wealthy have taken the knowledge that others could have used, but they applied it and they did something because our whole lives are about being of greater service, like that mango tree. We're here to allow, I talk about it in terms of our work is, well, is receiving God, because we have to receive the infinite, unlimited, before we can extend God, which is our purpose. And so each one of us is that mango tree, and our work is to make the fruit as delicious, as ripe, as ready to be of service as we can. So I guess my life was, I started out professionally as a newspaper reporter for 6 years, and then I was assistant managing editor for 4 years after that. And then I started writing books, and that led me into coaching, and that led me to being the person on your show right now, Elisha. So it's about opening and trusting that mango tree, that you are the mango tree, and you're here to provide for everyone seeking that fruit. And everyone is seeking that fruit because we're all here to be of greater service. That's what our life purpose is.
Amazing. That's so correct there. And that's a great reminder that we're all born for a particular purpose. And I put it like this. The purpose, generally speaking, is to beautify Earth, the planet, and to also live a life that pleases God, the Almighty. And the only way we can beautify Earth is by functioning from God's government. Then His culture, His lifestyle will flow through it. I got that. That was an amazing one. Okay, then let's get started with the first question. Let us talk about the dumbing device. What do you mean by calling mobile device the dumbing device? Can you talk to us about it?
Yeah, I love that question, Elisha. So it's, to me, it's called a smartphone because it's smart only relative to the person using it. Because look at how, I mean, you're whole and complete as you are. You come into the world wanting for nothing. Everything is provided. You just like smile, and then that toy comes to you, or that milk, or that food, or that affection. You have everything. And then we start becoming well, okay, this is what I mean by the dumbing device. And this is what happens to the child who is the full expression of God. And your life, everyone watching us, our lives are that full expression of God. And so the dumbing device is the agent of distraction, disconnection, disempowerment, discombobulation, despair, depression, distancing. I mean, to me, it's like we're here as creators. We're here on the planet as creators. We're here. I mean, you watching this, hearing us right now, every one of us, you are God's instrument for miracles in the world. You're God's gift to the world. And when you live your life as God's gift, then your whole focus is like the mango tree. How can I become as nourishing as possible? How can I be of greater service? And you don't focus on somebody unliked me, unfriended me. And, all that's all distraction. That's disconnection. That's disservice. And so how many people, they forget about their power as God's gift. And when your whole focus is, okay, today, what can I do to be of greater service? How can I better be this gift that I am here to be, because God made me as God's gift. God gave me to the world as God's gift. And you see how the dumbing device just gets in the way of that. Oh, I feel separate. I'm not connected with God or life or the earth. And that's a complete misdirection. It's a complete loss of your focus, of your power, of your purpose, of your inherent connection as God's gift. Your whole focus is to be of greater service. So how can I share this gift that I am with the most people? You might use the dumbing device for that, or social media, and yet you're still remaining in your center, connected, and there never was any disconnection. All of that was just a false perception. So instead of the dumbing device and disconnection, disempowerment, distraction, distancing, discombobulation. I talk about our focus is our honoring and living our divine design, duty, destiny, dharma, the D lives. That is why we are here. So that's the other side of the dumbing device, is remembering, wow, I'm never disconnected. I'm always, like, God is omnipresent, which means present everywhere, especially within you. And by you being God's gift to the world, then you're expressing that gift and you're allowing God to work through you to move mountains and transform the world.
Amazing. Powerful words from Dan. That's a very powerful one. You see, the day average population discover and believe that they are God's gift to the world, that very day I believe poverty will cease to exist. Corruption will cease to, and that's why I'm on that mission. I've got this vision, Dan. You see, I want a large number of people to live in this understanding and function in this consciousness. We were all born for a particular purpose. You see, while I was studying Genesis, Dan, I was then reading closely and I discovered that out of all the things that God commanded us to dominate or rule over, He never said we should rule over ourselves. He said, dominate the fish, dominate the birds, all that creepeth on the earth, everything are under your power. But He never mentioned dominate another man. And what that means to me is the only one who has the power to dominate humans happens to be God. And so, if we live in the understanding of, servant leader, we were born to serve our gift to the world. That way, all of this havoc going on might just cease to exist. And that's why I love to listen to folks like you who has this understanding. And you're doing all that you have in your power to spread the truth across. And that's amazing. That's a great one. So we have two more questions to go. So, how do you think our attachment to cell phone has contributed to our disconnection and decline?
Well, that's a really insightful question, Elisha. Cell
Thank
phones, to me, you're welcome. Thank you for your wisdom and the gift that you are.
thank you too.
So, you're welcome. How did cell phones contribute to our decline? Well, ultimately, we feel like we're alone. Like, who am I? I'm nothing. I mean, like, I like to go to, you could say the tree of life, or I'm getting chills just reflecting on this. Like, I don't think about this in terms of like the mighty oak tree. I think of it as each of us. I don't know if you're familiar with the redwood trees or the sequoia trees. Like an oak tree might be like 60 feet tall, but a redwood tree could be like 350 feet tall. It might be like 6 or 8 times bigger than the oak tree. And that to me is what each of us is when when we're not blocking the flow of God or the presence of God or the Holy Spirit in our lives. And to me, the cell phone, it's like, I mean, so like, you're here, you're meant to be expansive, and like you're never further apart than one breath away from God, from the earth, from fellow human beings, from everyone else in our human family than the breath. And we're all breathing the same air. And yet, when I am on my phone, then it's like my whole world becomes just this 10-inch area between my face and the phone. And it's like me turning my back on God ultimately. And, God is omnipresent. And yet I'm disconnected. I feel like I am. And it's like I feel helpless. I feel weak. I feel powerless. And kind of like, let's say, the pine cone from a pine tree, or whatever the cone is from a sequoia tree or a redwood tree, it falls into the dirt. And it's like, what happened? I'm not connected anymore. Well, no, you have to turn within and then realize you are your own mighty redwood tree yourself. And that's what you And then you breathe in God, because every breath you're breathing in God, and that's reconnecting you with your center, with your purpose, with life. And then you're returning to, well, I'm my own gift. I'm God's instrument for miracles. And that's how you start to grow and become your own redwood tree. So the dumbing device, or the cell phone, disconnects people. It creates the false perception that I'm helpless, I'm all alone, because when people are like on social media, like a Facebook friend or, Twitter follower, whatever it is, that's not real connection. That's like empty. That doesn't provide me any nourishment. It doesn't feed my soul. It's more like I feel empty. I'm looking for that connection because, like my love tank is empty. And so I'm looking for that love from this dumbing device, which is only disconnection. And I mean, of course, the real answer you and I know is God. And God never turned away from us. It was only us. If we're stuck in this little bubble here, we felt like we were separate, but there was never any separation. And so it's really about like breathing in God. I call it breathe back into being, coming back to your center, to your home. And then how can I be of greater service? Well, I have all these gifts that I can share. And this is honoring my purpose, and it's aligning or flowing with or being present with God and the Holy Spirit or life or the earth. And so this thing becomes the dumbing device. The cell phone, the mobile phone, is just a distraction, and yet it's unfulfilling. It doesn't nourish us. It doesn't provide us what our hearts and souls and spirits and being needs, which is ultimately only filled by God ever. I mean, that's a key insight. If I would invite everyone to just reflect on that. You don't need love, like a romantic love, or you don't need acknowledgement, or you don't need fame. Everything ultimately is God and can only be filled by God. So recognizing that, breathing that in, that's what reconnects you with your center. And that's your source of authentic, real connection. God, ultimately, that is.
Amazing. And you see, I love how you explain that. You made it quite easy to understand, and I would have to listen to our conversation over and over again. I want to eat it all. I don't want to leave anyone's left over. I want to consume it
Thank you,
all.
Elisha.
Yeah. Okay. So one last question: what does it mean to be a consciousness keeper?
That's something really, really important. So I'm glad you asked that question. That's okay. So ultimately, every one of us, is prime cause. This is what, I mentioned I taught Think and Grow Rich since 2003. Napoleon Hill says that Andrew Carnegie, who was then the richest person in the world, told him that God, in his infinite wisdom, gave man absolute control over but one thing. Fortunately for him, that one thing is enough for him, man, to have anything that he desires. That one thing is what he chooses to give his attention. So ultimately, your only choice that you are making, the only decision you are making is, where am I giving my power? And that is determined by what you are giving your attention. Where you're giving your attention, you are giving your power. That's how you are creating your life, and that's how we collectively are creating our world. So where you are giving your attention is your fundamental responsibility to choose wisely, carefully, thoughtfully, based on, like I talk about it in terms of giving your attention only to what gives you joy, inspires you, and moves you closer to your goals, desires, and dreams, knowing with that being 100% of your focus, then everything in your life will support that. because then, and this is what it means to be a consciousness keeper, is I recognize that I have a higher purpose, and my purpose is to consciously choose the right focus that is allowing me to serve my purpose and to fulfill my goals, desires, and dreams. So, and this is somebody, like, okay, so think about, I don't know if everyone can relate to this. So I'll just say from my perspective, like when I was a student in school, there was usually that one kid who knew all the answers, and that kid would get like maybe a 100 on the scores, the test, and then everybody else would be kind of like, oh, that person threw off the grading for us all. And, if everybody else was like a median score of 70, well, that 100 person threw off the results. So maybe a 70 is like a C or a D, a letter grade of lower, and instead of something higher. But anyway, so like you are here to be the consciousness keeper. And what that means is you're here to raise the frequency for the collective consciousness of the whole human race. And I mean, like if everybody else is like at a 100, but you're at 1,000, then you're automatically raising the frequency for everyone else. So that's what a consciousness keeper is. And I believe this is our primary responsibility.
Amazing. That's a great one. It's our primary responsibility. So to bring this to an end, Dan, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who would like to reach out to you, learn more about everything we've discussed, how can that be possible?
Okay. I appreciate you asking that question, Elisha. So you are more powerful than you can ever even comprehend. And I would like to go back to your primary mission, if I may. I saw this on your show notes. You said, Elisha, your focus, your work is to inspire our audience to pursue knowledge, overcome challenges, and create a transformational impact globally. So every one of us watching this, hearing us, you are here to, I'm getting chills right now, create a transformational impact globally. Like, even though we talk about the disconnection from social media or the cell phones, mobile phones, we are still connected through social media. And like right now, by you watching this, getting everyone leading, I call it leading, inspiring, transforming, and liberating, LITL, doing a little more today than you did before and being of greater service. By you watching this, leading every one of your online friends to this show, to our conversation here, and then leading them to step up and be great and be, you are here to be God's gift to the world, then you are having that transformational impact on the world. So that is what your purpose is. And you're doing this. I mean, you want to reach out to me. I strongly encourage you to lead your own Operation Greatness chapter in your community, because that's how you are leading, inspiring, transforming, and liberating everyone you can reach. And this is through operationgreatness.com. This is my work, operationgreatness.com/leader, even more specifically. You have the power to transform the world by you taking this to heart, by you getting out of your own way, because that's all that ever was a limitation in your life, was you having some story. Let go of that story. Let go and let God. Remove that barrier to being God's gift to the world.
Amazing, powerful message. I love that. Thank you so much, Dan. So
Thank you
that's
very
going to
much.
be the end of the show, Dan. Thank you for coming. And thank you for blessing our souls and our mind with these powerful words. It means a whole lot, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elisha.
That was